Judge Carter.
Can you see me?
I can see you.
Okay. Maybe, can you step more to your right? Yeah, there we go. Okay, that's where the defendants will be. Okay, good. Dexter, good morning.
Good morning.
You guys doing okay?
Yeah.
What you're doing?
Well, we're here.
Okay.
Hey, Kathy, how you doing? Hey,
Sunshine.
Hey, Jace. We gonna be here all day, Jace. No probable cause.
Oh my goodness. Are you guys ready to get started?
We can be, Your Honor.
Okay, so we're going to start with the domestic violence cases first.
Oh, what they gonna be?
Were you guys aware of that?
Yeah, we
yes.
saw it on the docket. I was like, oh, I guess they're gonna bring them over here.
So we'll run through all the domestic violence.
Do they know?
Oh, I'm sorry, the move-ups, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
And then then the first part of the docket will be the DV and interpreter, and then we'll do the regular docket.
Okay.
But we'll do the move-ups first.
Okay, so move ups before the Spanish.
What order do you all have it in?
Weekends we usually do Spanish first, and then move ups, and then domestic.
So the
But
first
however
person,
you have yours, however you have them, that's how we can go. It really won't make a
okay.
difference.
Do I have the move-ups on top? So we're gonna do move-ups.
Okay.
Okay. And then, good morning, I'm Judge Carter. Could I have the attorneys place their appearances on the record, please?
Kathy Kennedy Swanson on behalf of the Office of the State Attorney.
Jace Thompson on behalf of the Office of the Public Defender.
Thank you. So I guess.
Judge, really quick.
Yeah.
We have a lot of resets
Correct.
that need to be moved up.
Okay.
So is it possible that we could put them right behind the move ups that we have on the list?
Sure.
So we just go through all the resets from there.
You want to just do all the resets?
After McLaughlin on the move up list.
Okay, I'm just going to pull out all of the resets
Okay.
and set them to the side, and then you let me know when
Okay.
to start with those cases, okay?
Okay.
You can't get in there.
Come on.
Sir, good morning.
Good morning.
Can you see and hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Tell me your name, please.
Augustine Camacho Jr.
Mr. Camacho, you're here in 20 CF 4361. You were arrested for aggravated assault with a weapon, false imprisonment, tampering with a witness to hinder communication.
Wait a minute. Wait. Aggravated assault with a weapon? She
That's
stabbed me, and I got 14 stitches.
Mr. Camacho, please, you can't talk over me. Mr. Camacho, look at me. You cannot talk over me. Okay, 1 and 2. I'm not saying that any of this is true. I'm just telling you why you were arrested.
Okay, because I didn't know.
Again, I don't want you to talk to me about the facts of your case either. All right? And you were also arrested for battery domestic violence. There's probable cause, sir, for the offenses. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You are not to possess any weapons or any firearms. Your bond on count 1 is $3,500. Your bond on count 2 is $150. Bond on count 3 is $150. Bond on count 4 is $100. Mr. Camacho, do you have any questions? Were you given a no contact order, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you have any questions about the no contact order?
We don't live together anyway.
I understand, sir, but do you have any questions about the order?
No, because I've been wanting to stay away from her.
You what?
I've been wanting to stay away from her. I've been wanting a contact order like this, but they wouldn't give me one. They made me go downtown.
Okay. Are there any victims present right now?
There are, Your Honor.
Okay. Just there's none for Mr. Camacho.
Correct.
Okay. And then does the state have an offer on the out on bond case? And information was filed.
Adjudication could have been sir.
All right. Mr. Camacho, did you want to resolve your out on bond case, your disorderly conduct case this morning?
For the disorderly conduct, what do you mean?
You're out on bond, sir.
Oh, yes, yes.
Do you want to
I would like to resolve it, yes.
Okay. Did you have a chance to look at the plea form this morning?
No, I did not.
Okay. Do you understand by that entering this plea today, you would be giving up your right to have a trial by a jury and make the state of Florida prove that you committed the crime of disorderly conduct?
Yes, I do, but I'm guilty of that one.
Okay. Mr. Camacho, are you on probation?
No, I'm not.
And you understand if you're not a U.S. citizen, this plea will subject you to deportation.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I'm going to accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to...
It's 3 days, Your Honor.
Thank you. 3 days in the Orange County Jail with credit for 3 days time served. You will have to pay court costs. Those are due by April 6th of 2021, sir. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're all set, sir. Is that Courtney in the courtroom
Yes, Your Honor.
for pretrial? Okay, thank you.
Me?
Just go to the speaker. There you go.
Sir, good morning. Your name?
Good morning. Your name? Desmond Dunkley.
Sir, you're here in 20 CF 4362. You were arrested for aggravated battery on a pregnant person and resisting officer without violence. There is probable cause. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. Is there a victim present for Mr. Dunkley?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Sir, you are not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You are not to possess any weapons or any firearms.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am, I know.
Do you have any questions about the no contact order?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Do you live together?
No, ma'am, I live separate.
Okay. Your bond on count 1 is $1,000. Your bond on count 2 is $100.
Ma'am, I was I would say I have a job. I really on my own, so I have a job. But that's what I'm saying. Can I get if I would have got released, I would be able to pay because I get paid on the 9th of this month.
Courtney, can we qualify Mr. Dunkley for pretrial release?
He can be released on pretrial.
All right, Mr. Dunkley, I'm going to place you on pretrial release, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Sir, good morning. Your name?
Jeremy Griffiths.
How about Mr. Jefferson?
He's on the wall, Your Honor.
Okay. You're Mr. Griffiths?
Yes.
Sir, you are here in case number 20 CF 4354. You were arrested for burglary of a structure and for criminal mischief. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you, sir. You are not to return to the Steele House Apartments. Your bond on count 1 is going to be $1,000. Your bond on count 2 is $100.
My fault.
At this time, I'm not going to take any action on the out on bond case. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Jefferson, Your Honor.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Jefferson.
Good morning.
Sir, you were here in 20 MM 2574. You were arrested for battery domestic violence. There is probable cause. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. You are not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You may return with law enforcement one time to the house to get your things. You're not to possess any weapons or any firearms. Your bond, sir, is going to be $500, and you have reporting requirements when you are released from the jail.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Jefferson, do you have any questions about the no contact order, sir?
No, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Judge, can we pass by the next two?
Golins and Herman?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Hello.
Good morning, your name?
Devontae Johnson.
Mr. Johnson, this is 20 CF 4347. You were arrested for burglary of an occupied dwelling. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you.
Okay.
You are not to return to the scene. You're not to have any contact with the victim.
Okay. Gotcha. Thank you.
Courtney, is this face sheet not updated?
He wasn't interviewed because of his housing, and his fingerprints haven't cleared, so it's updated.
That's why it's not there. Okay. Could we get him interviewed for pretrial?
Okay, so it's bond or PTR?
Yeah, we'll do bond. Do $1,000 bond or pretrial release, but pretrial release should be primary.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
Cheers.
Good morning, ma'am. Your name?
Shelby McLaughlin.
Miss McLaughlin, you are here in 20 MM 2579. You were arrested for loitering or prowling. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Was there an offer for Miss McLaughlin?
With all credit for time served, no return.
All right. Miss McLaughlin, did you want to resolve your case this morning, ma'am?
Yes,
Okay. Did you have an opportunity to read over the plea form before court?
I can't understand.
Did you have an opportunity to read over the plea form before court this morning?
Yes, more or less, yeah. Yes.
All right. And you're not on probation?
No.
Okay. And you understand that if you were not a U.S. citizen, this plea would subject you to deportation?
Yes.
All right, ma'am. At this time, I'm going to withhold adjudication, sentence you to 2 days in the jail. You've got credit for 2 days time served. You are not to return to the scene. You will have to pay court costs, which will be due by April 6th of 2021, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Your Honor, we're going to start with the resets.
Okay. And then still set aside Gullins and Herman?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
And Mr. Barzy Halford refused.
So he's moved to all the resets. So all it starts with Barzy. Does it go to the back of your paperwork? No, it's like that to the end. Then pull. Got it? All right, Mr. Barzy was a refusal.
Your Honor, we're going to ask the bond be revoked on Mr. Barz's out on bond case, the same victim in both cases.
Okay, this is 20 CF 4335. Mr. Barzy, I'm finding a waiver of Mr. Barzi's appearance based upon his refusal to attend court today. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent him. He's not to have any contact with the victim. He is to maintain a separate residence. He's not to have possess any weapons or firearms. He may have a one-time return with law enforcement to get any of his belongings. Bond is $3,500, and I'm revoking the bond in 20 CF 3363. That will be set at none.
Your Honor, next on the list is Robert Burnham. He's behaving.
Yes. Okay. And that's 20 CF 3278. I'm finding a waiver of Mr. Burnham's appearance based upon his inability to attend court due to his behavior. He was arrested for aggravated assault with a credible threat, stalking, and obscene or harassing phone calls. This was pursuant to a warrant. Bond on count 1 is $3,500. Bond on count 2 is $2,500. Bond on count 3 is $1,000. He's not to have any contact with the victim. He is to abide by any injunctions that are in place. He's not to possess any weapons or firearms. Yeah.
There's 4 counts?
There's 3.
I got it. Sorry.
And then there's 20 CF 4319. He was arrested for possession of methamphetamine. There is probable cause for that offense. Bond is $1,000. Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Tell me your name, sir.
My name is Louis Casamajor.
Yes, sir. You are here in 20 CT 2335. You were arrested for expired driver's license, more than 6 months, and driving under the influence. There's probable cause for both of the offenses, sir. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. At this time, I'm going to release you on your own recognizance, sir. You need to contact your lawyer within 24 hours of your release from the jail, and you are not to possess or consume any alcohol or controlled substances without a valid prescription.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you. Ma'am, good morning. Your name?
Kristen Clark.
Ms. Clark, you're here in 20 MM 2565. You were arrested for battery domestic violence. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You are not to possess any weapons or firearms. You may return to the house one time with law enforcement to get your things. Does Ms. Clark, she was not interviewed, is that correct, Courtney?
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right. Could we have her interviewed?
Okay. Is bond or PTR?
Yes. Ms. Clark, I'm going to set your bond at $500 or pretrial release. If you qualify, they're going to come talk to you and ask you some questions to see if you qualify for the program.
I was offered that once in my early 20s and unfortunately missed it due to the 3 hurricanes that hit Florida that year.
Oh, okay, ma'am. Did you have a chance to read the no contact order?
I know what it says, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you have any questions about the order?
I know, ma'am.
All right. Thank you.
Your Honor, next on the list is Dotson. He's mental health.
All right, I'm going to waive Mr. Dotson's appearance and appoint the public defender to represent him. He was arrested in 20 CF 4324 for shooting or throwing into an occupied vehicle, aggravated assault with a firearm, another count of shooting or throwing into an occupied vehicle, criminal mischief, and another count of shooting or throwing into an occupied vehicle. There is probable cause. He is not to have any contact with any of the victims or witnesses. He's not to return to the scene or possess any weapons or firearms. Bond on count 1 is $5,000. Bond on count 2 is $150. Bond on count 3, 4, and 5 will also be $150. And then I'm revoking the bond in 20 MM 686. That will be set at none.
Next we have is Larry Frederick. He refused court.
All right. I'm going to find a waiver of Mr. Frederick's appearance based upon his refusal to come to court. He was arrested for trespass on property after warning. There's probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender. He's not to return to the Family Dollar. I'm going to release Mr. Frederick on his own recognizance, and I'm not taking any action on the out on bond case. Sir, good morning. Your name? Sir?
Raheem Grant.
Mr. Grant, you are here for an out-of-county warrant out of Osceola County, sir, related to an aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and battery domestic violence. Mr. Grant, at this time, we are going to make contact with Osceola County to see if they would like to modify the release conditions or set you a bond. Once we hear back from Osceola County, you will be brought back to court and be informed of the judge's decision.
Okay.
Okay, sir? Thank you.
Can we pass by Ida LaCoya Bell? Also,
Sure. Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Good morning, sir. Tell me your name, please.
Demetrius Lewis, ma'am.
Mr. Lewis, sir, you're here in 20 CF 4302. You were arrested for robbery with a firearm and carjacking with a firearm. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. State, did you want to be heard with respect to bond?
What is the probable cause, ma'am?
It's the information that's contained in the arrest affidavit, sir. Go ahead.
Yes, Your Honor, we would defendant to be held at no bond. We have the four corners of the affidavit by Officer James Simister that this defendant and a co-defendant pulled when one was coming to return money. The victim was coming to return money, I guess that was owed. Men pulled out a firearm, black males with masks on, pointed at him. The victim was able to identify one of the defendants. When the bolo went out, there was a crash of a crash of one of the cars that was seen from leaving. The canines tracked from the car to where one of the suspects were. They found that the suspect was had mud based on what was the vehicle where it had crashed. They also found phones and cash in one of the other co-defendants' pockets. The victim said that about $500 was taken from him. Your Honor, based on the information of the tracking of the canine, the eyewitness victim's statement, the cash that was found on the co-defendant, and this defendant, we believe the defendant should be held at no bond based on proof evidence.
Mr. Thompson, did you want to be heard?
Yes, Your Honor. Reading the affidavit, I don't believe that my client was actually identified by the victim. I'll just ask that you do not find proof evidence presumption great and just set a monetary bond in this case.
At this time, the state has met their burden to establish that there is proof evident or presumption great, Mr. Lewis. Your bond is going to remain at none as to each count at this time. You're going to have to ask your lawyer to file a bond motion in Division 14 to see if the judge would like to exercise discretion in setting a bond, sir. Thank you.
Just ask for no contact with the co-defendant as they're both.
You're also not having any contact with the co-defendant or the victim, sir. Thank you. Sir, good morning. Your name?
Luis Esparado Rodriguez, ma'am.
Sir, you have several cases this morning. I am going to appoint the public defender to represent you in all of the cases. It also appears that they were all pursuant to a warrant, so probable cause has been determined. What I don't have is the actual affidavit, so I don't know where it's from. So are you able to tell me, is the scene the same for all of the cases? Sure. The first one is Marshall's. Mr. Rodriguez, in case number 20 CF 3577, you were arrested for petty theft with 2 prior convictions pursuant to a warrant. You are not to return to Marshall's. You're not to have any contact with any of the victims in any of these cases or return to any of the scenes. You also have...
I have to look in the clerk system to see.
Sure. I think that they're all Marshall's. The second one is Marshall's as well. And in 3573, sir, you were also arrested for petty theft with 2 prior convictions.
Is the Marshall's in 3572?
Okay. And then in 20 CF 3570, you were arrested for petty theft with 2 prior convictions and use of an anti-shoplifting device. And in 20 CF 3570, you were arrested for petty theft with 2 prior convictions and use of an anti-shoplifting device. Did I already say 372? No. Okay. And then, so you have 20 CF 3572, which is a petty theft with 2 prior convictions. Mr. Rodriguez, at this time, sir, I'm going to release you on your own recognizance. You need to contact your lawyer within 24 hours of your release from the jail. You are not to return to the scene. You are not to have any contact with any of the witnesses or the victims. Mr. Rodriguez, are you listening to me?
Yes, ma'am, yes.
Okay. All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am, thank you.
Next on the list is Jermaine Smith. He refused court.
All right, I'm going to find a waiver of Mr. Smith's appearance based upon his refusal to attend court. In 20 CF 4316, he was arrested for sexual battery with a deadly weapon or physical force, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, aggravated assault on a law enforcement officer with a deadly weapon, resisting officer with violence, battery on a law enforcement officer, resisting officer without violence, criminal mischief, and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. There's probable cause for all of the offenses. I'll appoint the public defender to represent him. State, did you want to be heard on count 1 Esteban?
Here, I will just submit the affidavit by Officer Jean Torres Gonzalez. Looking at the 4 corners of the affidavit, we believe that counts, well, the sexual battery with a deadly weapon by physical force is a punishment by life felony, and that the defendant should be held at no bond.
Okay. Mr. Thompson, did you want to be heard at all?
Yes, Your Honor. Until further investigations are conducted, we'll just ask that the court do not find proof evident presumption great and exercise discretion in setting a monetary bond in this case.
Okay. Well, relying on the sworn affidavit for arrest, there is proof evident or presumption great as to count 1. The state has met their burden. Bond is going to remain at none as to count 1. Bond on count 2 is going to be $5,000. Bond on count 3, $150, 4, $150, 5, $150, 6, $100, 7, $100, 8, $150. He's not to have any contact with the victim or witnesses. He's not to possess any weapons or firearms, and he's not to return to the scene.
Your Honor, we have Ms. Gullins here.
Okay. This is Ms. Gullins. She was one that Dexter asked.
Your Honor, Mr. Smith had 2 other cases.
What the
Thank you,
fuck?
Courtney.
He slapped me. I ain't do nothing.
Ms. Goins, just give me a minute, okay? I'll be right with you. I see. And then Mr. Smith also has 20 CF 4315. He was arrested for ag assault on Aaliyah with a deadly weapon and battering a law enforcement officer. There is probable cause for those offenses. I'll appoint the public defender and stay the bond as to each count. Sorry, Your Honor. We don't have that. That's okay. 5,000 on count 1 and 150 on count 2. And then 20 CF 4314. He was arrested for battering a law enforcement officer. There is probable cause for that offense. Bond will be $150. All right, and then this is Miss Gullins. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
You were arrested in 20 CF 4346 for battering on a person 65 years of age or older and trespass. There's probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms. You're also not to return to the 7-Eleven, ma'am. Your bond on count 1 is $2,500. Your bond on count 2 is $100. And I'm not going to take any action on the out on bond case. Thank you.
Your Honor, are we going into the regular docket or are we going into the interpreter cases?
So I still have Tamara Herman and Ida LaCoya Bell.
Yes, we're still waiting on them to come up.
Okay, so I'll continue to set those aside. And then I have Generis Rivera, which is a writ. What's in the regular docket?
The only writ we have, Your Honor, is Holland.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I was reading the petitioner's name. Yes. So you want to do Spanish last?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I know how. Probably easier to do it last. Okay. Yeah, and then we'll do the, in case we have to mess with the equipment. Okay. Sir, good morning. Tell me your name.
Good morning, ma'am. My name is Stephen Darnell Holland.
Mr. Holland, you are here for a child support writ. At this time, sir, you're going to be released on your own recognizance.
Thank you so much.
Your next court date is June 1st at 10:15 a.m. Here at the Orange County Courthouse. You're going to be in room 540. You'll get a copy of that order, sir, when you're released from the jail, but you need to make sure you appear at that court date.
Can I also, I don't know if I talked to you, but I never get any notices for these court dates.
Okay.
So I just want to, on record, please change my address if I can, so that way I won't have to go through these inconveniences in the future.
Okay. Can we update Mr. Holland's address?
Thank you so much.
This is Mr. Holland. Sir, could you please tell me your address?
Yes, 5300 Long Road, Apartment H, Orlando, Florida 32808. I believe I just moved through this whole coronavirus. I had to downsize my family's environment.
I'm sorry to hear that, sir. The clerk has made the note of your new address, so that way you should be getting notice, but make sure you're in court on June 1st, sir.
Will I get a copy of that paperwork when I'm released today?
You. All right,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so at this time, we're going to just go ahead and start with the felony domestic violence docket and then do interpreters at the end.
whole unit?
The whole unit is, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Your Honor,
Yes.
Barnes is medical.
Okay. And then when we're going through the domestic violence docket, will y'all just let me know if there's a witness there?
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to find a waiver of Mr. Barnes' appearance, appoint the public defender in 20 CF 4360. He was arrested for battery by strangulation, domestic violence, and felony battery. There is probable cause. He's not to have any contact with the victim. He's to maintain a separate residence. He's not to possess any weapons or firearms. Bond on count 1 is $1,000. Bond on count 2 is $150. Ma'am, good morning.
Good morning.
Tell me your name.
Rondrika Henderson.
Ms. Henderson, this is 20 CF 5350. You were arrested for battery, domestic violence, and aggravated battery. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms. You may return to the house one time with law enforcement to get your things if needed. Did you read the no contact order, ma'am?
I didn't get no paper of that.
Okay, there should be one right there that Dexter's going to hand to you. Thank you. Ma'am, just take a minute to review that and let me know when you've finished.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, I'm finished.
All right, did you have any questions about anything contained in the order?
No, ma'am. Sorry.
All right. Courtney, could she be placed on pretrial release?
She wasn't interviewed.
Could we get her interviewed?
Okay.
Okay. Bond on count 1 is 500. Bond on count 2 is 100. Thank you, Ms. Henderson.
And it's or PTR?
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
Which one?
Bond or PTR.
So how much would I have to pay?
Your Honor, next on the list is Murphy. He is also medical.
All right. I'm going to waive Mr. Murphy's appearance and appoint the public defender in 20 CF 4364. He was arrested pursuant to a warrant for burglary of a dwelling, battery when prior, domestic violence, and petty theft. He's not to have any contact with the victim. He is to maintain a separate residence. He's not to possess any weapons or any firearms. Bond on count 1 is 5,000. Bond on count 2 is 150. Bond on count 3 is 100. Good morning.
Good morning.
Your name?
Byron Robinson.
Mr. Robinson, you are here in case number 20 CF 4343. You were arrested for battery by strangulation, domestic violence, and battery domestic violence. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. You are not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms. You may return to the home one time with law enforcement to get your things if needed. Did you have any questions, sir, about the no contact order?
The only question that I do have is, number one, we got business together, and number two, we do have a daughter that I have to pick up every night from daycare.
Is there a third party that they can use to communicate?
Sure. Mr. Robinson, is there a third party that you could use to communicate or facilitate communication regarding your daughter? It's like as your mom or her mom or a friend or caregiver?
I could try to make some arrangements for it because it's actually my uncle and his wife that actually watches the daughter during the time she's there for daycare.
Okay.
And usually I pick her up, take her home, put in bed, and she usually get out typically about 1 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. So, Miss Mendez is not home when you take your daughter home and put her to bed?
No, she actually get home a little bit later.
So, yeah, you're not going to be able to have any contact with her, though. That's the issue.
Yes, I understand.
Okay. What's the name of your uncle?
My uncle is whew, a lot of this is hard to process for me, but Uncle Ben, she actually know his phone number and stuff like that. I don't have all his contact information, but I got it in my phone, of course, but I don't have it. It's like my great
But
uncle.
do you know his first and last name?
I don't know his last name by heart because it's like 3 different last names to my family, so I really don't know his by heart. But his first name is Ben.
Bam?
Ben.
Ben, B-E-N?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Could you put, may have contact regarding child through third party, Uncle Ben only? All right, Mr. Robinson, anything else?
That's pretty much it. Like I said, other than that, you know, I got to figure out what we're going to do about the business stuff because the business in her name, but I got to open contracts for the business. So I don't know how that will work.
Yeah, you're going to need to have your lawyer file a motion.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm going to place you on pretrial release at this time.
Okay.
Thank you. Good morning, ma'am. Your name?
Amber Woods.
Miss Woods, you're here in 20 CF 4349. You were arrested for aggravated battery with a weapon, domestic violence. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender. You're not to have any contact with the victim.
There's a victim in the booth, y'all.
Donna, we also have a victim.
Okay. Is he in the booth?
Yes, ma'am.
How are we going to swear them in? Just weird. Can the victim hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Could you state your name, sir?
Jacob Bonner.
Mr. Bonner, could you raise your right hand, please, to be sworn in by the clerk?
Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, help you God?
I do.
All right. Mr. Bonner, do you want to have contact with Miss Woods?
Yes.
Are you afraid of her?
No.
Do you live together?
We do.
Do you have any children together?
We do.
Do you have any concerns about your children's safety if I were to allow contact between the two of you?
No.
And how long have you been in a relationship with Miss Woods?
Almost 2 years.
Have you had any instances of violence between the two of you in the course of your relationship?
No.
Miss Woods, at this time, I'm going to order that you're not to have any hostile contact with Mr. Bonner. Do you understand what that means?
Yes.
You're not to possess any weapons or any firearms. I'm going to place you on pretrial release at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Sir, good morning. Your name?
DeAndre Bowen.
What is it?
DeAndre Bowen.
Thank you, Mr. Bowen. You are here in 20 CF 2569. You were arrested for battery domestic violence. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. You are not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You're not to possess any weapons or any firearms. Yes, sir.
Is it any way, ma'am, that I can possibly get like R&R because I have like other stuff going on and I'm getting ready to go to Georgia. Today is my birthday. I'm getting ready to go to Georgia. And I have to go handle cases in Georgia. If you can see it, I have an out-of-state warrant. And I was going today to handle that. And I was just, anyway, I can get R&R because I need to go handle that immediately. Like, pretty please, I don't have any FTAs. I don't have any, escapes or any priors or anything like that. I'm just trying to get ready to go handle my cases in Georgia so I can get that settled. Because I have a house in Georgia I need to go live at. Like, no one goes to jail the day before their birthday. It doesn't happen.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Bowen. Your bond is set at $1,000. Again, you're not to have any contact with the victim. You're to maintain a separate residence, and you're not to possess any weapons or firearms. Thank you, sir.
I can do that.
Sir, good morning. Your name?
Good morning. Ralph Joelle Davila.
Mr. Davila, sir, you are here in case number. Is it only the out-of-county VOP? I don't understand. I don't have an Orange County affidavit, though. I just have. Right. Oh. Yeah. Right. I guess I just don't understand. Like, it seems like we're missing a case, right? Because he's arrested here in Orange County for violating the injunction, and then for the VOP, but I don't have an Orange County case number.
You need the case number for the violation of probation?
No, for the contempt of court. For the violation of the injunction. So I have the case number for the Osceola County case. So it looks like he's only on probation for the one case, which is the 2018 MM3974. And then this new charge, the contempt of court, the violation of injunction, should be an Orange County case. That's what he got arrested for, and that's what's violating the probation.
Generate.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you all, this should be
2020 something.
Yeah, we need a case number for the violation of injunction case, because this is a new law offense in Orange County. See, look. This is what he got arrested for here in Orange County. Violating this injunction. Probably just got put as an option. And this is what the Osceola County is on probation. That's the on. Mr. Davila, you have two cases this morning.
Yes, Your Honor.
You have a new law offense of violating a domestic injunction, sir. There is probable cause for that offense. You're to abide by the injunction in 18 DR 1540. In that case, your bond is going to be $1,500. And then you have an on-view violation of probation in 18 MM 3974, which is an Osceola County case. There is probable cause for the violation of probation based upon the facts contained in the new law arrest affidavit. Bond on the VOP will be set at none, sir.
Not no bond.
You don't have a bond on the VOP.
Is there any way that we can get a bond for that? I am a
You need
teacher.
to have your lawyer file a motion.
Okay, can it be appointed the public defenders?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and would that motion be in Osceola or could it be here?
Excuse me?
The motion for the bond for the VOP.
What about it?
So would I have to go to Osceola for that, or we could do that at District 9 right here in Orange County? Am I going to be transferred to Osceola County?
You would not be transferred to Osceola County until your local charges are resolved. So if you were to bond out on the Orange County case, that would start the process for Osceola County. Again, you're going to need to have your lawyer reach out to the state and file a motion in front of the Osceola County judge. Once we receive that information back on the Osceola County case, you would be brought back to court to be given that information.
Okay, so there's going to be an arraignment for this charge in Orange County then. Coming up next.
No, there will not be. Not for the violation of probation. On the new law case, if you don't bond out, there will be.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Sir, good morning. Your name?
Miguel Fajardo.
Sir, you were here in 20 MM 2572. You were arrested for battery domestic violence. There's probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You may return to the house one time with law enforcement to get your things. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms. I'm going to place you on pretrial release at this time. Do you have any questions about the no contact order?
So the no contact, I'm not supposed to go to my residence then, right? Not supposed to contact her at all?
Correct. If she's there, you can't be there.
Is that because she didn't show up or something, or?
It's because there's to be no contact between you, and that's what the order says. Do you need a minute to read the order?
No, I read it, but I thought, well, okay, she's my wife, so I don't get it, but I guess.
Okay, but right now you can't have any contact with her, and every time that you do, it's a new criminal offense.
Okay, I understand that.
Okay.
Anything, how does this get, like, how do I get off from
Modify
no
it?
contact?
You need to have your lawyer file a motion. You've been appointed the public defender. They'll need to file a motion in Division 50 to see if those conditions can be modified.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
And bond or nothing?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Your name?
Leon Hurt.
Mr. Hurt, this is 20MM89. You were arrested for battery. There's probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to have any contact with the victim. You're to maintain a separate residence. You may return one time with law enforcement to get your things. You're not to possess any weapons or any firearms. Did you have any questions about the no contact order?
No, ma'am.
All right, sir. I'm going to set your bond at $500. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
Sir, good morning. Your name?
Keontae Murray.
Mr. Murray, this is 20MM2576. You were arrested for battery domestic violence. There's probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. You are not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You are not to possess any weapons or any firearms.
Yes.
Do you have any questions about the no contact order, sir?
No, ma'am. Like, how would I
Right,
be able
your
to
bond-
get it? How would I be able
Excuse-
to get the contact order dropped?
You need to have your lawyer file a bond motion.
Okay.
All right. Your bond is $1,500, sir. Thank you.
All right.
He also has an out-of-county case.
VOP.
Oh, yes. Mr. Murray, you do have a on-view violation of probation out of Broward County. The basis of the violation of probation is the new law offense. There is probable cause. Your bond is going to be set at none in that matter.
All right.
Thank you. Sir, good morning. Your name?
Stephen Praedeselis.
This is 20MM2573. You were arrested for assault, domestic violence. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to have any contact with the victim. You're to maintain a separate residence. You may return one time with law enforcement
You
to
have a
get your
victim
things.
here, Your Honor. We
The
have a
victim's
vic-
here?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, good morning. Can you hear me?
Good morning, Your Honor. Yes, I can.
Okay. And please tell me your name.
Kara Campbell.
All right. And Ms. Campbell, could you please raise your right hand to be sworn in by the clerk?
Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Ms. Campbell, do you want to have contact with Mr. Purcellus?
Yes, Your Honor.
How long have you been in a relationship with him?
5 years.
Do you have any children together?
No.
Are there any children in the home?
No.
Ma'am, do you want to continue living with him? Ma'am,
Yes.
did you hear my question?
Yes, I did. I'm sorry. I'm not sure if you heard me.
No, I did. Thank you. Ma'am, during the course of your 5-year relationship, have there been any instances of violence between the two of you?
No.
All right, Mr. Purcellus, at this time, I'm going to order that you're not to have any hostile contact with Ms. Campbell. Do you understand what that means?
Yes, I do.
You are not to possess any weapons or any firearms. I'm going to place you on pretrial release at this time. You also have 18 MM 5044. You failed to appear for arraignment back in July of 2018 on a petty theft offense. State, do you have an offer for Mr. Purcellus on that case?
Withhold, time served, no return to the Walmart.
Mr. Purcellus, did you want to go ahead and resolve the petty theft case?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Do you understand that by entering a plea today that you'd be giving up your right to have a trial and make the state of Florida prove that you committed the petty theft?
Yes,
Okay. And you're not on probation, is that correct?
that is correct.
All right. And you understand that if you are not a U.S. citizen, this plea would subject you to deportation?
Yes.
All right. Sir, at this time, I'm going to withhold adjudication. Courtney, do you know how many days that he has?
I'm searching for it right now.
Oh, thank you.
One's made a notice to appear, so it may be
He'll get
arrested.
credit for 2 days.
2 days. Okay. Sir, I'm going to sentence you to 2 days in jail. You've got credit for 2 days time served. You are not to return to the Walmart. You all will also have to pay court costs, which will be due by April 6th of 2021. And then I'm not sure if I said it, but I'm placing you on pretrial release on the battery case.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Ma'am, good morning. Your name?
Melise Rivera.
Ma'am, you're here in 20 MM 2578. You were arrested for battery domestic violence. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Is there any witnesses here for Ms. Rivera?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Ma'am, you're not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You may return one time with law enforcement to get your things. You're not to possess any weapons or any firearms. Ms. Rivera, do you have any questions about the no contact order?
No.
Okay. And then, Courtney, could we qualify her for pretrial release?
She refused to provide any emergency contact information to the officer. Your Honor.
Is there a reason, ma'am, why you're not wanting to provide that information?
I only have my mom, and I didn't want to call her that I was in this situation.
I see. Ma'am, you live here in Orlando?
Yeah.
How long have you lived here?
In Orlando? Like in Florida?
Yes.
12 years.
Okay. And the only family you have here is your mom?
Yeah, my mom, my stepdad, and 2 sisters. And I have an aunt, but I don't know her phone number or anything.
Courtney, can I order her to be on pretrial?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Rivera, I'm going to place you on pretrial release at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. Tell me your name.
Emigdio Rivera.
Mr. Rivera, this is 20 MM156. You were arrested for battery. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you.
And we have a victim, Your Honor.
Oh, okay. Could you tell me your name, please?
Neji Lima.
All right. Ms. Lima, could you please raise your right hand to be sworn in by the clerk?
You swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Ms. Lima, do you want to have contact with Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
And you're married to Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
How long have you been married?
3 years.
Have there been any instances of violence between the two of you over the course of your relationship?
Yes.
How many other times, ma'am?
We have a couple other times.
Okay. All right, Mr. Rivera, at this time I'm going to order that you're not to have any contact with Ms. Lima. You are to maintain a separate residence. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms. If you need to go back to the house one time, you may do so with law enforcement to get your things. Do you have any questions about the no contact order, sir?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Your bond is going to be set at $1,000. Thank you. You're all set, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Tell me your name.
John Zizette.
Mr. Zizette, this is 20 MM2575. You were arrested for battery domestic violence. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Is there a witness here for Mr. Zizette?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Sir, you're not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms. You may go back to the home one time with law enforcement to get your things if needed. Do you have any questions about the no contact order?
No, ma'am.
All right. I'm going to place you on pretrial release at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have Ms. Herman coming next, Your Honor.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Ma'am, good morning. Your name?
Tammy Herman.
Ms. Herman, this is 20 CF 4345. You were arrested for burglary of a conveyance. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. I find probable cause for a simple trespass under statute 810.08. State, did you want to be heard at all? Okay. Ms. Herman, I am going to release you on your own recognizance at this time.
Thank you.
You are not to have any contact with the victim and you're not to return to the scene, ma'am. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, your name?
Derek Akers.
Mr. Akers, sir, you're here in 20 CF 4357. You were arrested for possession of cocaine. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you.
Yes, ma'am.
Your bond, sir, is $500, and I'm not going to take any action on the out on bond case at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you. 500. Good morning, your name?
James Armstrong.
All right, how about Miss Ankra?
Bonded, Your Honor.
You bonded? Okay. You're Mr. Armstrong, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Armstrong, you were arrested in 20 CF 4263 pursuant to a warrant for robbery with a deadly weapon and aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. There is probable cause, as I stated through the warrant. You also have 20 CF 4348 for possession of methamphetamine. There's probable cause for that. Your bond will be $150. You are not, excuse me, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
You're not to have any contact with the victim. You are not to possess any weapons or any firearms. Your bond on count 1 is going to be $5,000. Bond on count 2 is $150. Thank you, sir. Good morning. Your name?
Craig Shavers.
Mr. Shavers, this is 20 CF 4333. You were arrested for second-degree murder with a weapon and attempted second-degree murder with a weapon. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. State, did you want to be heard with respect to bond?
Yes, Your Honor. We believe that the defendant should be held at no bond based on proof, evidence, presumption, great. Looking at the four corners of the affidavit of Michael Fields, this defendant actually pulls up to where the law enforcement is parked, saying that his car has been shot up. He then tells the officer that the car has been shot, or people shot at him because he stabbed someone. Based on that, Your Honor, and the rest of the information, we believe the defendant should be held at no bond.
Mr. Thompson?
Your Honor, to let's determine whether this was a case of self-defense or not, I would ask the court to exercise discretion and set a monetary bond in this case and not find proof, evidence, presumption, great.
At this time, the state has met their burden to establish that there is proof, evident, or presumption great based upon the information that's contained in the probable cause affidavit for arrest. Bond as to count 1 and 2, sir, is going to remain at none. You'll need to have your lawyer file a bond motion in Division 12 to see if the judge would like to exercise discretion and grant you a bond, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
You are not to have any contact with any of the witnesses. You're not to have any contact with the victim's family members or the victim in count 2. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Your Honor, Fleming is mental health.
All right. I'm going to waive Mr. Fleming's appearance and appoint the public defender in 20 CF 4344. He was arrested for burglary of a conveyance, attempted burglary of an occupied dwelling, and petty theft. There is probable cause. He's not to return to the scene or have contact with any of the victims or witnesses. Bond on count 1, $2,500. Bond on count 2 is $150. Bond on count 3 is $100. Sir, good morning.
Good morning.
Tell me your name.
Terrell Lanier Jackson.
Right, Mr. Jackson, you failed to appear in 19 CF 7901. And in that matter, your bond, sir, is set at none.
Yes, ma'am.
I spoke to Judge Young this morning. He did not want me to set a bond. You have to have your lawyer file a bond motion in Division 14.
But Your Honor, like I say, with that being said, I was going to come to court. I was not going to not come to
But
court.
Mr. Jackson, listen, I need to stop you. I don't have the legal authority to give you a bond. It's a warrant. It's a bench warrant from Judge Young. He's the only person who can give you a bond on that case. I emailed him this morning. He's declined to do that. He wants your lawyer to file a motion. So anything you tell me is not going to change my ability to give you a bond.
my lawyer has to file a bond motion?
That's right.
So how will I know who my lawyer is?
Well, you've got a piece of paper there in front of you with the contact information for the public defender. Okay, so you need to call them.
Okay.
And the public defender is sitting in the courtroom with me here, Mr. Thompson, and you're going to make a note in stack, I'm assuming, notifying Mr. Jackson's lawyer that he is in jail, correct? Yes?
Yeah, yes, Your Honor, I'm sorry.
Okay. So, Mr. Jackson, you also have case number 20MM2567. You arrested for battery. There's probable cause for that offense. You're not to have any contact with the victim. You are not to possess any weapons or firearms. Your bond in that case is going to be $500.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am. How you doing this morning?
Good, sir. Thank you. Tell me your name.
Aaron Lofton.
Mr. Lofton, you are here in case number 20 CF 4365. You were arrested for aggravated battery with a deadly weapon.
Yes, ma'am. I was at home, ma'am, doing the.
Mr. Wait. I don't want you to talk to me about the facts of your case. Everything that we're talking about today is recorded.
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
appointing the public defender to represent you. You'll
But
be
they
able
told
to
me I
talk
can
with
talk
him.
to you. They see that the reason why they taking me to jail so I can talk to you because I haven't filled out an affidavit, and she haven't filled out an affidavit. And she was an accident. She was swinging at me with the bag and she fell and hit her head on the coffee table.
Let me stop you, Mr. Lofton. What the purpose of today's hearing is simply for me to tell you what you've been arrested for and to set your conditions of release. I'm not here to say whether or not anything's true or false. I'm just letting you know why you were arrested and what your bond is.
Okay,
Do you understand?
Do you have an affidavit or her report? Because I don't have one.
And I don't have anyone there today to provide that to you.
But do you have one though? Do she have one? Is there one affidavit? Because I didn't fill out one, and I'm pretty sure that she definitely didn't fill out an affidavit, ma'am, because she attacked me. So I know she didn't fill out
Mr.
an
Lofton,
affidavit.
listen to me. Listen to me. First of all, stop talking about the facts as you see them.
Yes, ma'am.
Two,
What they told me.
the affidavit that I'm speaking, you can't talk over me.
Yes, ma'am.
You cannot talk over me. The affidavit that I'm talking about and that I'm reading is something that the police officer wrote.
That's right. Only. And she said I can talk to you
Mr.
when I
Lofton,
get here.
Mr. Lofton,
That's a lie.
you're not understanding what I'm saying. Okay. Trying to help you, Mr. Lofton, but you're not letting me help you.
Yes, ma'am. I have no criminal background record and 57 years old.
All right.
She attacked me.
Your bond is $7,500, sir. You're not to have any contact with the victim. You're to maintain a separate residence. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, sir. Your name? Mr. McNabb, you were here in 19 CF 15514. You failed to appear for case management conference. I did speak with Judge Beamer this morning. She has authorized me to set bond on count 1 at $500, and I'm going to ROR you on count 2.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. You need to get in touch with your lawyer within 24 hours of your release, and that way you could be apprised of when your next court date is.
Yes, ma'am. So I'll get released today?
Once you post your bond. Okay, thank you.
What's the name on? It?
That's Mr. McNabb. Good morning.
Good morning.
Your name?
Alexis Morel, Your Honor.
Mr. Morel, you're here in 20 CF 4356. You were arrested for possession of cocaine and possession of a controlled substance without a prescription. There's probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you.
Well, I didn't have it on me. It was inside the car.
Wait. So, listen, I understand I read the affidavit. I don't want you to talk about the facts today. Everything that you say can be used against you. You'll be able to talk with your lawyer about that and what potential defenses you may have to the crime, sir. Okay? Today, I'm just telling you why you were arrested and setting your bond. Bond on count 1 is $500. Bond on count 2 is $150. Thank you, sir. Sir, good morning. Your name?
Ray Sean Spidell.
Mr. Spidell, this is case number 20 CF 4351. You were arrested for attempted burglary of a structure and possession of burglary tools. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Bond on count 1 is $1,500. Bond on count 2 is $150. You are not to return to the scene. And you're not to have any contact with any of the victims, sir. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Your name, sir?
Joshua Thayer.
Mr. Thayer, this is 20 CF 124. You were arrested pursuant to a warrant for possession of methamphetamine. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. I am going to release you on your own recognizance at this time, sir. You need to contact your lawyer within 24 hours of your release from the jail. You're not to possess or consume any controlled substances without a valid prescription.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Your name?
Joseph Norvez.
All right. How about Mr. Young?
You refuse court, Your Honor.
All right. I'll take care of that in a second. You're Mr. Navarez?
Yes.
Sir, you're here in 20 CT 2341. You were arrested for leaving the scene of an accident involving property damage.
Yes, ma'am.
There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have an offer on the two no valids?
This is Mr.
Navarez.
Fine, sir.
Mr. Navarez, do you want to resolve your cases, the two cases that you have that you're out on bond for the no motor vehicle registration and the no valid driver's license cases?
Will that help me in any way?
Well, you won't have to go back to court on them. I don't know what you were planning to do with those. I didn't know if you have a defense or not, but do you want to enter a plea on those cases?
Well, I had a court date for one of them, and they keep getting rescheduled because of coronavirus in the courts.
Right. So I'm offering you an opportunity to resolve those cases today.
So you're not.
Yes, I plead guilty.
Okay. Mr. Navarez, you're not on probation, are you, sir?
No, ma'am.
Okay. You understand you cannot drive without a valid driver's license.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So on the 19 CT 8016 and 19 CT 8017, I'm going to withhold adjudication. Looks like he's got 1 day. Sentence you to 1 day in jail. You have credit for 1 day on each case. You'll have to pay court costs in each of the cases. Those are going to be due by April 6th of 2021. And Mr. Navarez, I'm going to release you on your own recognizance in 20 CT 2341. You're not to have any contact with any witnesses or the victim, sir. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You're also, again, not to drive without a valid driver's license.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. All right, and then Mr. Young is 20 CF 4330. He was arrested for possession of cocaine and possession of methamphetamine. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent him. I'm going to release him on his own recognizance at this time. On Mr. Young. Yeah. Will refuse. How about Mr. Carter?
Bond, Your Honor.
He bonded?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Mag Lori?
Bond also.
All right. And then how about Miss Lakaya Bell?
She still hasn't gotten here yet, Your Honor.
Okay. We'll move on.
We'll go into the Spanish now.
Sure.
I may have 1 minute.
Am I giving this back to you all? Okay, thank you. All right, I'm going to hold on to Miss Lakaya Bell's stuff. And then...
Honor,
Yes.
on McMath, did you revoke the bond on that case?
I don't remember. Mr. McMath?
Walter McMath.
I didn't remember either. Did I release some ROR, Mr. Remember? Oh, that was Judge Beamer's case. Okay. He didn't have an out on bond case. All right, I'm gonna attempt to.
Good morning, Your Honor. This is a Spanish interpreter.
Great, thank you so much. Can the BRC hear the Spanish interpreter?
We can, Your Honor.
Okay. Are we going to be using headphones or just over the audio?
Whichever you prefer. If you want, I can try calling over the. I can call the headphones and make sure that there's no interference. Sometimes it does create a bad interference, but let me give it a try, okay?
Okay, yes, let's try. Thank you.
This is courtroom 2 at the jail, right? That I'm calling into.
That's correct.
Correct.
Your Honor, we also have a victim.
Okay, thank you.
The victim also needs the interpreter.
Okay.
So we might as well do it.
So maybe for this case, we'll just not use the headsets?
Yes.
Okay.
Your Honor, would you like me to disconnect then? Because I've connected for the headset.
Yes, for this case, could you do that? Because I believe the victim needs your services as well.
No problem.
Thank you. Ma'am, good afternoon. Tell me your name, please.
Buenas tardes, señora. Por favor, dígame su nombre.
Diego Bismar Florimón García.
Señor, tiene que acercarse a ese micrófono enfrente de usted. No le oigo.
Diego Bismar Florimón García.
Diego Bismar Florimón García.
All right. This is case number 20 CF 4342. Sir, you're the alleged victim in this case.
Señor, usted es la supuesta víctima en esta causa.
Sí.
Do you want to have contact with Miss Florimón?
¿Desea usted tener contacto con la señora Florimón?
Sí.
Yes.
And sir, you're her brother, is that correct?
Señor, usted es el hermano, ¿cierto?
No.
No.
What is your relationship to Miss Florimón?
¿Cuál es su relación parentesca a la señora Florimón?
Ella es mi esposa.
She's my wife.
Okay. How long have you been married?
¿Hace cuánto tiempo que están casados?
Tenemos 5 años.
At least 4 or 5 years.
Do you have children together?
¿Tienen hijos en común?
Sí, tenemos 2.
Yes, we have 2.
All right. Do you have any concerns about their safety if I were to allow contact between the two of you?
Si yo fuera a permitir contacto entre ustedes dos, ¿usted tendría alguna preocupación con la seguridad de los niños?
No.
No.
All right. Well, at this time, ma'am, I am going to order that you are not to have any contact with your husband.
Señora, en este momento dado se le prohíbe tener ningún tipo de contacto con el esposo suyo.
You are not to possess any weapons or firearms.
Prohibida la tenencia de armas de fuego o armas.
You are to maintain a separate residence.
Y prohibida convivir con él.
You may return to the home one time with the police to get your things.
Se le permitirá una vez regresar al hogar para recoger sus pertenencias.
Courtney, can she be qualified for pretrial release?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. I'm going to place you on pretrial release, ma'am.
Señora, se le va a conceder libertad provisional.
You are also not to possess or consume any alcohol or controlled substances without a valid prescription.
Tampoco está permitida a usted la tenencia de alcohol o medicamentos sin la receta de un médico.
Did you have any questions about the order, ma'am?
Sí, yo quiero preguntar el por qué tomaron esa decisión.
Yes, I would like to ask why that decision was made.
Because of the information that I read in the arrest affidavit and the prior instances of violence.
Debido a la información que consta en el informe de detención y los antecedentes previos de violencia que ha habido.
Thank you, ma'am.
Gracias, señora.
Otra cosa, pero si yo no puedo tener contacto con él, no puedo ir para la casa, no tengo donde vivir, y no tengo family, we don't have nobody here, y no tengo dinero ni nada.
I can't have contact with him. I'm not allowed to go back to the home. Where am I going to live? I don't have any family. I don't have anybody here. I don't have any money or anything.
I can't help you with that problem, ma'am. You'll have to talk to your lawyer about that.
Señora, yo no le puedo ayudar con respecto a ese problema. Tendrá usted que hablar con su abogado.
My name? Okay. Thank you.
Your Honor, would you like me to reconnect the headsets?
Let me ask, is there a witness there for Mr. Galdamez?
No.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, yes, let's try to reconnect to the headset.
Okay. He can hear me, Your Honor.
Great. Okay. This is case number 20 CF 4363. Tell me your name, please, sir.
Edued Dalganas.
You were arrested for aggravated battery with a weapon, domestic violence, resisting officer without violence, and battery domestic violence. There's probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You are not to possess any weapons or firearms. You may return to the house with the police one time to get your things, sir. I'm going to place you on pretrial release at this time.
Your Honor, he also has an immigration hold.
Thank you. Mr. Galdamez, I need to also inform you that you do have an immigration hold, sir. Thank you.
I speak English.
Oh, thank you, sir. Tell me your name, please.
Jesus Cepeda.
Braden Cepeda.
Cepeda, yeah. Jesus Cepeda.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Could you please raise your right hand to be sworn in by the clerk?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Ma'am, please tell me your name.
Elvis Ponce?
This is 20MM157. Ma'am, you are arrested for battery. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Mr. Cepeda, do you want to have contact
Yes.
with Ms. Torres?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you live together?
Yes, we live together.
Do you want to continue living together?
Yes.
And do you have any children in the home?
Yes, we got 3 kids.
And do you have any concerns about their safety if I were to allow contact between the two of you?
No, ma'am.
Have there been any other instances of violence between the two of you?
No, just arguments, but no violence.
Okay. All right. At this time, ma'am, I'm going to order that you're not to have any hostile contact with Mr. Cepeda. Do you understand what that means?
I don't. What that means.
Okay. So let me explain to you, ma'am. It means that you are not to argue with him. You are not to fight with him. You're not to act aggressive or disrespectful toward him in any way. Do you understand?
Yes.
You're not to possess any weapons or firearms, and I'm going to place you on pretrial release at this time. Thank you, ma'am. You'll be released later today.
You know what time?
I do not.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Have a blessed day.
You're welcome. You too, sir.
What is pretrial release? How does that work?
So, ma'am, you will be required to call in to a pretrial release officer I think it's every other week until your case has been resolved in court. So you won't have to pay any money to get out of the jail, but you'll be monitored in the community until your case has been resolved.
How long will that last?
I'm not sure. It's different for every case. You'll have to talk to your lawyer about that more.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, sir. Your name?
Juvines Pereira. Juvines Pereira.
Juvines Pereira?
Sí.
How about Mr. Garcia?
Bond, Your Honor.
Sir, good afternoon. You are here in case number 20 CF 4334. You were arrested for smuggling contraband into the jail and possessing cocaine. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you on both of your cases. Bond on count 1 will be $150. Bond on count 2 will be $150. You have 20 CF 4331. You were arrested for battery on a firefighter or EMT and resisting officer with violence. Bond on count 1 is $2,500. Bond on count 2 is $150. You are not to possess any weapons or firearms. And Mr. Pereira, you also have an immigration hold. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. The bonds on the second charge are how much?
$2,500 and $150.
Pregunta. Al pagar la fianza de aquí, ¿ustedes me entregan a migración o cómo está eso?
If I were to post the bond, I still have to go to immigration, or how does that work?
That's right, sir. You won't be released until after the immigration hold has been lifted.
Okay, ¿yo puedo contratar a un abogado?
Am I allowed to get in contact with an attorney?
Of course, yes. You have a piece of paper there in front of you with the contact information. I would call them.
Ok. Es el número que está ahí de un abogado. Ok.
Good afternoon, sir. Your name?
Alberto Vélez.
Alberto Velez.
Mr. Velez, you have 2 cases. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you in both. You have 20 CF 4332. You were arrested for possession of heroin, possession of drug paraphernalia, and petty theft, as well as resisting officer without violence in 20 MM 2570.
Sorry, you're going to repeat that case number again? You said it so fast.
Sorry about that. 20 MM 2570.
Thank you.
There's probable cause for all of the offenses. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you, sir. Your bond on count 1 in 20 CF 4332 will be $500. Bond on count 2 is $100. Bond on count 3, $100. And the bond in the misdemeanor case will be $100. Thank you, sir.
How much is the bond amount that I have to pay?
I don't know, sir. You'll have to contact the bondsman.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. How about Mr. Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am.
Is the interpreter still needed? I see that the headsets were put away.
I don't know. What about Oscar Arzules Estrada? He bonded. He bonded. Okay, so I believe that's all, Madam Interpreter. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And then who's this?
Ms. Saunders, one of your status hearings.
John. All right, yes, Ms. Saunders, this is an out-of-county case from Seminole County. At this time, per Judge Rex Seidler, you're to remain at a no-bond status, ma'am.
Thought my judge was McIntosh. That's the original judge.
Right, but during the pandemic, Judge Rex Seidler is the point of contact to all the other judges in your circuit. And so she's the one that's doing the communication. So you'll have to have your lawyer file a bond motion in that circuit.
Oh, how do I do that from here? I mean,
the public defender's office here in the 9th Circuit is reaching out to the 18th Circuit to let them know that you are here.
Wait a minute. So I'm at no bond status, and they're
right.
not transporting anybody.
Right.
We don't know when that will be lifted. Is the days I'm being held suspended, or is that in effect? Like, they used to be able to only hold us in a different county so many days, and then that county would release us if that other county didn't come and get us. Is that still in effect?
No, ma'am. That's not in effect.
And we don't know when that's going to go back into effect. So right now I'm stuck.
You'll need to talk to your lawyer about clarification on the law. I can't explain the law to you, ma'am. But at this time, you are to remain at no bond. And like I said, you'll have to have your lawyer file a motion in your trial court. Thank you.
But how do I get? I'm confused. I'm really confused because I don't understand how am I going to get.
Good afternoon, sir. Your name?
DeAndre Watson.
All right, Mr. Watson, you're here on an out-of-county warrant from Dade County. And at this time, sir, you're to remain at a no-bond status.
Okay.
Okay? Your lawyers are aware that you're here, and they can file any appropriate motions.
So basically, I can't get released.
No, sir.
So I just be here.
Until your lawyer files a motion, or that should change, yes.
I'm saying I'm for VOP, so basically I gotta wait till my county come.
Or your lawyer files a motion and there's a hearing. Yes.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Your Honor, LaCoya Bell is going to be mental health.
Okay, how about Miss Smith, Champagne Smith?
Do not recall her on the list, Your Honor.
She's on my docket. The booking number is 20008856.
She bonded.
She was released, you mean?
She bonded.
She bonded out,
okay.
Your Honor.
Oh, good. Okay. We don't have to do anything with that. All right, let me look at Miss Bell's. All right, I'm going to find a waiver of Miss LaCoya Bell's appearance. Appoint the public defender in 20 MM 2557. She was arrested for trespass on property after warning. There is probable cause. She's not to return to the Rosen Plaza. I'm going to release her on her own recognizance, and I'm not going to take any action on the out on bond case. All right, I believe that's everything. Everything on your end?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Have a good week, everyone. I'll see you next Monday.
I'm sorry, 33-day motions?
Oh. Oh. Well, good catch, Dexter. Forgot all about those. Thank you. Do we have any?
I have a moment to check my email.
Okay.
I didn't get a 33-day docket.
No?
Office.
That would be odd if we didn't.
I'm trying to check my email. Friday.
Oh, Jill sent me it.